We didn't find any success for about 8 years. And then time caught up, internet caught up, and people started actually taking it a little more seriously. And now, of course, we're all online. My phones are blowing up because of this coronavirus. Everybody realizes they have to go virtual. Zoom probably got millions of new customers.
Totally.
So now, 20 years later, well, now we're doing 8 figures, going on 9, and everybody says I'm a genius. Well, guess what? I wasn't a genius. I just had consistency, and I just had belief. That's all.
When you think about your company today, it's visual learning, man, right? Explain to us exactly what Lightspeed VT does and how it works.
Well, Lightspeed VT is a technology, a web-based technology that allows you to create, deliver, track, and measure interactive content, usually video-based. It was invented out of necessity. I was traveling around training people. I was charging $10,000 a day to teach people. And I realized that it wasn't working very well compared to where I had been in the past, where I was very successful at training people and developing top-level salespeople and sales managers. So ultimately, I quit my job to go out on the road to train people for myself. I worked at a company. And I just couldn't figure out how I couldn't get it to work as well as it used to. And so I did some comparing. And I found out that there's 4 key ingredients to effectively train someone that I wasn't aware of. That is good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. Without good content, like if you teach people effectively to do it wrong, they'll do it wrong. So you have to have good content to begin with. Then you have to have repetition. That's why school's 12 years, not 12 days, right? We say our ABCs 1,000 times. Repetition is a key to learning. And then practice what it is that you've learned. And then accountability, being held accountable and holding yourself accountable is critical. And most businesses, they're training people by exposing them to the good content, but there's no repetition, there's not enough practice, and there's no accountability. So when I realized this, I developed Lightspeed VT to allow me to deliver, track, and measure the same content I was there to deliver in person, so I could do it with repetition. And I could practice and role play with people, and then I could hold them accountable by delivering notifications and reporting to track them. So I built it out of necessity for me, and it turned out it started working out for a lot of other people. And that's what I always say, man. If you want to make $1 million, just solve 1 million problems.
So was it hard in the beginning? I mean, to get this thing off the ground, or did they start flying pretty quickly?
No, it was very difficult. Matter of fact, for 8 years, we didn't make any money, and everyone said I was crazy. No one's going to train online. Nobody's ever going to do this. But I believed it, and I just broke it into 90-day increments. I tell people, if you want to get anything you want in life, I can show you how to get it in 90 days. And they're always like, what do you mean? You can get anything you want in 90 days. Here's what you do. Number one, you got to figure out what it is that you want. Because a lot of times people don't realize it's harder to figure out what you want than it is to get it. A lot of times people don't understand that. They don't even, if you ask the average person, hey, tell me what success looks like, they won't even be able to tell you that. I'll make money. How much? I don't know, millions. Well, you don't know. Like, you better know down to the penny. What does success look like? How much recurring revenue? How much monthly? How much annual? Where you live? Who you hanging out with? What's going on? Like, they cannot determine and specifically tell you what success looks like. Well, if you don't know what someone looks like, how are you ever going to find them? Same thing with success. How are you going to find it if you don't know what it looks like? So I would say define your success. Ultimately, what was your question? Because I just went off track for a minute.
Well, no, I mean, and just kind of veering off into like, why is it important that, expound on that. Why is it important that really people know what they want? And why is that so important that people get that?
Yeah, well, most people don't understand what it is they want, but in order to get there, you have to kind of identify it, right? So knowing what you want is the first step in getting it, right? You have to know what it is that you want. Oh yeah, I remember now, 90 days. Here's how you get anything you want in 90 days. Number one, you have to determine what that is and what it looks like specifically. Then you look down and you work your ass off for 90 days. Then you look up. And if in 90 days you look up and you're not where you wanted to be, then look back down and do it again for 90 more days. And that's literally what I did to build Lightspeed. For 8 years, people would say, how's it going, man? I'd be like, oh, dude, it's nothing yet, but I'm telling you right now, in 90 days, it's going to be huge. And then sure enough, 90 days later, someone will be like, hey, how's it going? Oh man, there's some deals working. It's unbelievable in 90 days. And I hadn't realized it until I looked back that I literally built the company in 90 days. It just was 20 years worth of 90 days. And I had to believe that in 90 days, major stuff was going to happen, or I might have given up like a lot of people would. We didn't find any success for about 8 years. And then time caught up, internet caught up, and people started actually taking it a little more seriously. And now, of course, we're all online. My phones are blowing up because of this coronavirus. Everybody realizes they have to go virtual. Zoom probably got millions of new customers.
Totally.
So now, 20 years later, well, now we're doing 8 figures, going on 9, and everybody says I'm a genius. Well, guess what? I wasn't a genius. I just had consistency, and I just had belief. That's all.
And you just didn't give up, man. I mean, when everybody told you that you were crazy, that you were nuts, that why are you wasting your time and all that stuff. And there's so many entrepreneurs right now that they're having their friends, their family, their coworkers just beating them up, mentally, right? Because I mean, we all went through that. I did same thing in my business, man. Everybody told me I was nuts. Everybody told me it wouldn't work. And thank God I didn't give up. I mean, do you ever feel like, you ever wake up sometimes, right? Or, in your beautiful home and driving your nice cars and you have, I'm sure, a decent amount of wealth saved and things like that. I mean, you ever wake up and go, man, I'm so thankful that I didn't listen to that guy. Did you have a couple of those people in your mind, like names of people that you wanted to make sure you prove them wrong? Did you ever have that at all?
Well, sure. I mean, there's always those people, right? But but I just, again, I mean, I wouldn't, looking back, I don't think, I did anything that was undoable. In other words, anyone could have done what I did, or anybody could have stuck with it with how I stuck with it. I stuck with it because I truly believed in 90 days it would turn around. If someone told me, bro, it's going to be 8 years before you make any money, I don't know that I would have said, okay, let's continue. I thought it was 90 days away the entire time. So that's why, again, if you're going to eat an elephant, you don't try to eat it all at once. Just little bites all the time. Pretty soon you've eaten the whole thing. So that's how I won. And that's what I would suggest people do. Don't try to figure out how to get to the big answer. Figure out how to get to the little ones, just like decisions. I believe the choices you make determine the road you'll take. And more people try to worry about these huge life decisions when they need to worry about the little ones. If you can successfully make little decisions, the big ones take care of themselves. If you constantly make bad little decisions, then you get in the habit of making poor choices. And next thing you know, you can't get rich making poor choices. It's impossible. So you have to get really good at making choices, even the little ones, daily. Does that make sense?
Totally. And I mean, as far as do you remember like that mentor? Did you have any real solid mentors growing up, or was there somebody that really believed in you, or you just believed in yourself?
Yeah, I believed in the concept of online training. It might have been on accident, but you cannot train somebody better in person than you can online. Now, when it comes to like mixed martial arts, obviously you're going to want to go into a gym and practice. You're going to want to go into a ring and practice, right? So you wouldn't want to learn how to fight online strictly. However, to get up to speed on all the moves, all the names, all the underlying disciplines and routines and diets and wraps and equipment, you could learn all that online. So when you walked into the gym, you were way, way up to speed compared to just walking in fresh. Okay, so you can accelerate your learning online. You can get the repetition. You can get the consistency that is not normally available without large expenses. So like, for example, if you wanted to learn from Tony Robbins one-on-one, it might cost you a lot of money. I don't even think he'd offer it to you, but let's say he did. It would be a massive amount of money, and it would take longer. Why? Well, because he's got a life to live. He has to go to the bathroom. He has to go to lunch. He has a family. If I virtualized everything he would have said and asked, because we have interactive video, so you can make interactive content, which means you can emulate what he would have asked in real life and capture the normal responses. But ultimately, if I could emulate what he would have coached you on for the 6-month period, I could make it available for $100 instead of $100,000 a day or an hour. So again, training online is just better than in person. That's all. And I think it took a little time for the world to catch up. And now I believe they're forced to realize, man, I better get online. So if you're an expert of any kind, you could create a course and sell it to people and businesses. I've got some customers making $5 million a month with their virtual training system. And all they did was recorded what they trained in person. And then now it's available worldwide in several languages on demand 24/7. So it's very possible to take a practice or a knowledge that you have and share it with the world. In turn, makes the world a better place as well. So it's a win-win.
If you like this video and you want to watch another one, click right here. If you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.